It is Saturday. It is October the 11th. This is the DLLS Stars Pregame Show. And right now, it's just me. I'm Owen Newkirk, along with our producer, Ryan Vaughters. Luds is backstage, but somehow can't figure out how to get in. We're doing a remote broadcast tonight because Sam is in Denver at Ball Arena getting ready for Stars against the Avalanche. We'll get into all that in just a minute. But first, before we do anything else, let's talk about the Ball Knower bonus. I've been telling you about this all week because this week on the Ball Knower bonus, for those of you that are unfamiliar with this, which we've talked about a lot, you have an opportunity to buy merchandise through DLLS and, of course, our parent company, ALLCITY, and also double your money. How do you do that? Well, this week we have a Cowboys-Panthers pick as one of the Ball Knower bonus options, the promo right now. Who wins? Dallas Cowboys, Carolina Panthers. It's tomorrow. So go to our website, click on merch, then on Ball Knower bonus, find that one, make your pick, and from anywhere between $25 up to $250, if you get that pick right, the merchandise you purchase, you will get a gift card for the same amount you spent, basically doubling your money. In addition to that, of course, our DLS Diehard sale is still going on right now, as we are almost done, though, with the $36 limited edition shirt for full Diehard for a first year, or the very limited Branded Bills Die Hard hat for $59. These are very limited, and if you want to do that, not only do you get that Branded Bills hat, but you also get all the Die Hard perks for an entire year. If you haven't done it already, join us now at alldlls.com/intro. All right, so right now, it's still just me. So let's try a couple of things, and then we'll see if we get Luds connected or not. We've done this before, but I think this is the first time with our producer Ryan at the helm. And so, of course, the software is going to give him a hard time just to make him feel a little bit worse about it all. All right. The big talking points tonight, Stars versus Avalanche, of course, are revolving around Mikko Rantanen, but it's not his first time back. You saw in our thumbnail tonight, as you clicked on to your YouTube page, that what we saw, of course, Mikko returns again, but it's not his first time. He went back in the regular season after the trade from Carolina to Dallas, but that was his first time going to Denver since being traded initially from the Avalanche to the Carolina Hurricanes, and then, of course, to the Dallas Stars. So that was a really interesting, bittersweet kind of moment. Remember, Mikko was not trying to leave Colorado. He was just trying to play hardball, and the Avalanche blinked first and traded him. So it wasn't as though he demanded a trade out. And that's, so the fans had, I think, a fairly nice reception for him of, you were with him for 10 years, you won a Stanley Cup, all that. However, then the playoffs, when there were 3 games in Denver with the Stars and Avalanche, and of course, it eventually led to that unbelievable Game 7. He had 4 points, by the way, in one period in Game 6 in Denver at Ball Arena. The Stars lost that game. But then he goes, they're down 2-0, third period, and Rantanen has a hat trick, also has an assist on the power play, the eventual game-winning goal by Wyatt Johnston. He scores the first 2 to tie it, then Johnston scores, and then Rantanen has the empty netter to seal it, and the place goes bonkers. If you haven't watched it in a little while, I highly recommend going to YouTube, typing in, Dallas Stars Game 7 win over Colorado Avalanche. I watched it a little while ago. Gets you going, and the atmosphere inside the AAC is unbelievable. But so that's the question tonight. Will the atmosphere for the reception be more hostile for Rantanen since he got knocked out? And so I think that's where we're going to start here, Ryan, is let's go to clip number 5, and we'll hear from Mikko about how he's kind of expecting a little less friendly, even though he has nothing but great feelings for the Avs fans and how he was treated over a decade. He has some expectations of maybe a little bit more hostility tonight.
Are you more prepared that it might not be as fun of a welcome?
Yeah. I'm prepared for that. I understand totally their view, and it's a kind of a rival team, divisional matchup, and two years in a row in the playoffs. So not a lot of Avs fans probably like the Stars. So I understand if they don't like me either. So that's how it goes. But I had good 10 years here, so I'm happy for that.
I'm sure you miss all of us too, eh?
Oh, yeah.
How about that at the end? the media making sure that said, yeah, you messed us as well, right? So it's weird. It has to be bittersweet. I know Rantanen has said that he's turned the page because he's now a Dallas Star for the next 8 years, and he's very happy to be settled and playing here, as you would expect. And something that we talked about on our show was, and I think maybe Luds brought this up, was it could have been Sean, it could have been Sam, so maybe I'm giving the wrong credit here. Mikko Rantanen was always going to be, I think Sean said this now that I think about it, Mikko Rantanen was always going to be the second supporting actor with Nathan MacKinnon, and Cale Makar is sort of the co-leads. As great as Rantanen is, that's pretty much going to be, look who it is. It's our old friend, Craig Ludwig, finally allowed in. You had like a 8-minute or a 6-minute penalty, like a suspension. You couldn't start the game. You had to be in the box for this one.
No, not me. Should be in the penalty box. It should be one of them two bigwigs that are sitting in there somewhere.
Trying to figure it out. All right, well, let's get right to it, Luds, because I have a bunch of stuff I want your opinion and thoughts over. And let's start with Glenn Gulletson here tonight, or earlier today, talking about how he felt the team played in Game 1 against Winnipeg.
For me, I certainly liked us through 50 minutes. You know, I liked the way we were, and especially in the second and into the beginning of the third. I thought we did some good things, held on to pucks, created some chances, got to the interior of the ice against a team that's good at defending. You know, they're a good defensive team, and so I thought we did a lot of good things there. We're gonna have to do it tonight, but I did like that last night.
How important is that shot differential, even at the end? But early on, it was almost twice as many.
Yeah, you know, you look at the shots and then you try to look at the quality of shots, but we were good in both departments. Yeah. I felt that we were double up on chances there at the end of the second, and I thought we had an even better start to the third, the first 10. You know, no one likes the way it finished, but certainly there's a psychological advantage when you're out shooting a team. Guys look at that, but at the end of the day, it's what you create quality, and I thought we had good quality.
Luds, we didn't get a chance to talk to you after the game the next day because you were on a flight to Chicago, so you weren't on the show yesterday. But as you had, the next day to sort of process what you watched on Thursday night, does that still hold true to you?
Yeah, it's funny. It's easy to take the high road when you know you won the hockey game. Oh, we only played 50 minutes. We played a good 50 minutes. I'm waiting for that line, but a game is 60 minutes long, right? So, I think all in all, Gully's doesn't want to come off as a hard ass, right? Game 1, and with the new team and all that other kind of stuff. I mean, let's face it, they played a really good game. I mean, for the most part, they played a really good hockey game. And I think what he's thinking is now we're going to take some things out of this, and we're going to touch on the negative part of the game, the power play that, gave up a couple goals and all those little things. They will be discussed, but I think, again, it's a good thing for the players right now, and probably the coaches too, that there's not 3 days in between games right now.
Yes.
You get to fly to another city, you get to travel a little bit, then you get off a plane, and maybe you got a little skate in the morning for 30 or 40 seconds, and then you got to play a hockey game. So you can't dwell on it, which is the right way for him to approach that, especially when now this team is going to be a little bit better than the last team is. They've got some weapons here, and there's some healthy guys here. So Gully knows, let's take the high road. Let's be positive about this.
All right. Well, I want you to hear this clip because this is another thing from this morning, and I think you're really going to like his emphasis on getting interior offensively.
I said that to our coaching staff. It's just it's so nice to have. Just they don't need much room to score, and we've got a bunch of those types of players. What I did like, though, they're great plays. They look nice, but if you watch that goal, Segi's on the interior. He's right in front of the net, and you look at that was. Segi went to the back door, and then you look at Johnny's goal. Segi's on the interior, and then when we have that nice spin around by Dutchy and Segi scores, Borky's standing on the interior. So we talk a lot about getting on the inside and not playing on the outside, because you got to win the rink inside the rink.
I knew you'd like to hear that.
The only reason I'm kind of smiling a little bit about that is that I would have been the ass that threw something in there at the end of it. I just said something like, well, when I was on the bench about 4.5 months ago against this team, one place they couldn't get was on the interior. And, because of the way that those guys played. So bottom line is he's right. And they are going to the front of the net. And again, I think a lot of this comes with, it doesn't have to be Gully. It could be whoever, but it comes with trying to impress and showing that you can do what the coaching staff has asked. You get more minutes, you get more shifts. It's early on in the season. We're doing what the coach wants. And the best part about that stuff is you go, okay, we got 3 or 4 bullet points that the coaches are trying to drill down on, and they worked. They're working in game 1. It didn't work to perfection, but as long as we keep implementing those 2 or 3 things or whatever they are, we feel as a group we're going to have success.
All right, the next thing, Luds, is we've talked a lot about the line shuffling, that Gully was moving things around during the game. Some of it was special teams. Well, he addressed that as well. And this is the last really important clip. We have one more thing after that I want to get to. It's more of a detail, but this is really what he's talking about, trying to figure out right now with his team.
Which forward pairs have you liked so far, and did you discover any new ones with all the shuffling?
No, I'm still trying to sort through the shuffling. So, what's happening is, again, we've got a lot of top-end guys, and you coming out of a game like that where there's lots of penalties, you've got to get those guys back on the ice. You can't have them sit too long, and so you're mixing then, right? You're adding a Robo in with Rance and Rupe. If they can get out there, then you got Dutchy, Segi, and then you're adding another winger there because again you've ran your bottom 6 quite hot getting through the penalties, and then you got to get those guys on the ice. They can't sit there too long, so that's why there's a lot of jumbling. I think if it's a less event game, you'll see less juggling depending on how it goes. But when you have lots of penalties either way, then you're going to see lots of juggling.
You just mentioned it with Robertson, Hinson, Rantanen, and that was kind of the top line here last year once Rantanen got here. What's the biggest difference when Robo's up there versus down lower? Does that give you kind of more balance when he's playing a little lower?
Well, it gives us depth, right? It gives us depth, and it creates a little bit harder matchups when you're on the road, and then they want their matchups, and but you've got your line spread out a little bit, and so maybe you're hoping to take advantage of that as an opposing coach. You see how it goes. One of the big things for me is just to get our team in it and not just fixate on the other team. Obviously, we got some special players here tonight, but I want all our guys going in the first few shifts and see who's going. It allows me to see who's got some pop or some jump, and then you can mix and match from there. So it's important for me to get them all going, and then to have some to use your depth and spread them out, make your team a little harder to match up against.
All right, Les, there's a couple of things there to talk about. The first is, and I very much agree with his point about special teams. If you've used, especially your bottom 6 penalty killers, a bunch, if you had one or back-to-back penalties, you need to get those top guys back on the ice, even if it's a jumbled line. You got to get them on. You can't go with an energy line just to try to reset and then go 1, 2, 3, 4. So I like that adaptiveness that Gully brings. Now, the other part about the depth of the lines to make it a harder matchup, but also let's see who's going tonight, and then when he changes, that's a guy who's not married to his line combinations because he's just going to stubbornly say, well, they're our top line. They're going. If somebody's having a tough night early, we might see him lose some minutes because Gully sees other things working in a game, and we might see that blending a lot more regularly.
Set a precedent early with your players. I just want guys to do this, this, and this, and if you don't do it, we've got other guys down there that want and are willing to. So, and again, I think tonight is important too for the matchups. I think it always is, but again, there's some special players on this other team, and I think they're obviously going to want to match up against a couple key guys tonight, right? That's what Colorado's going to do. So now, by doing all that juggling, and you find, like we talk about all the time, you find a couple guys you didn't know could play together or that would be as good as that they are. You can maybe flip-flop some people. I mean, if they want to get McKinnon out against his buddy, if that's what they want to do, they want to play a stalemate there tonight, that's fine. And then we can take, and Wyatt. I look at guys like Wyatt and Robo. Those two guys can interchange, and they could pop up there if they want to take away Robo. Because if you're going to take away Rantanen and Robo, well, I think there's Wyatt and there's Tyler and there's Duchesne and all that other kind of stuff. And that's why I think what he's trying to do in this thing is you're going to try to figure out, here's our home game and here's our road game. So regardless of who we play, and that we know that there are 3 guys that play really good here, but there's 2 other guys that can play up there with Rantanen or play with Robo that are really good too. And if we have to go to it on the
Uh-oh. That's a frozen Luds. So let's go to the ad break, Ryan. And then when we come back, hopefully we have an unfrozen Luds here on the DLS Stars Pregame Show. And it looks like it's me because it was supposed to be Luds, but he went completely kaput. So that's all right. I got this. Two things. Let's start with the DLS Diehard sale. You know, I just said this. It ends tomorrow night at 11:59 p.m. So Sunday night, this is the last chance. And there's two ways, as you see it here. You can do the $36 for 1 year of being a diehard and get a free t-shirt of your choice. Any shirt available on the alldls.com website. And that's a huge savings, more than 50% off the regular annual diehard price. However, there's also the $59 price, and that is for all the diehard perks. And you get, instead of a shirt, you get the very limited edition branded Bills DLLS hat that you can see on your screen right there. Two phenomenal ways to get what you're looking for. And of course, get all the diehard access and everything we do there, whether it's the Stars takeover that sold out really fast. We'll talk about that later. Whether it's the great writing from Sam and Sean and the guys from the other beats, Cowboys, Rangers, and Mavs, the diehard Discord, which is a really, really fun place. It's like the chat in YouTube, but only diehards, and it's 24/7, and it's frankly a little crazy. All right. Speaking of YouTube chat, Supporters Club. It's fairly new, but we've been talking about it for a few weeks now, and we've been having some fun with this. As we like to say, this is a real, true sicko level kind of thing for the YouTube side, because as Russell has just posted, or Ardell, you can see there's a special Supporters Club badge and special emojis that only those that have signed up for the YouTube Supporters Club. And Ryan usually puts that in the chat. We're doing StreamYard, so I'm not sure if that's as easy for him to post that. But yeah, look at Ardell. Put the Luds in, the Mavrello logo. That's one of the new emojis. We have the Stanley Cone, which Russell put out there with a Bing Bong and a Luds. Travis is in there as part of the sickos. I love it, guys. Oh, look, Ryan got the logo, the link in there. That's the Supporters Club. Find it now. It is truly sicko level stuff, but we love you for it. And of course, Tio, who's been handing them out like candy lately. It's not even Halloween yet, although we are getting closer. All right. We don't have Luds yet, so we'll see when he pops back in. Maybe we have Sam. We do. We have a Sam. How about that? Sam, thankfully, trying to connect to our broadcast tonight has been the most difficult thing today because the flight and the travel wasn't. Let's talk about line combinations, because we saved that part. I played the Gully clips where you asked a couple of great questions about the switching and shuffling, and also trying to figure out the pairs and how he's doing on that. So thankfully, I had those clips because we were going to have you talk on that earlier. But what's actually happening with the lineup tonight?
Yeah, so it's going to be something we've seen a lot already. We have Sam Steele up on that top line. He's going to be with Rope Hinson, Mikko Rantanen, and then Colin Blackwell on his off wing will play with Duchesne and Sagan. We have Robertson down there with Wyatt Johnston and Maverick Bork, and then the Ritzkovian and Fox Sebastian line that we've seen. D pair staying the same, obviously Jake Ottinger and net. So this is something I spoke to Glenn about this morning. I asked him about kind of moving around, as you mentioned, and he said, he kind of smiled and said, I'm still figuring it out, right? Like, I mean, he's had training camp, he's had preseason games, but this is a new coach taking over a new team with a bunch of new faces, kind of, because they lost people and then they lose Jamie Benn to injury. So there's a lot going on for him to kind of figure out what the best lineup is. The game on Thursday was weird because it didn't really give us an insight into what we're going to see because of all the penalties, because all the penalties led him to have to throw out his top guys together. We saw Robertson jump up there with Hinson Rantanen, which he said is something he wants to do when there's a lot of penalty time and he wants to get his guys out there. But the other side of it is when Robertson's down the lineup, or whoever it is, Rope Hin's playing down, Rantanen playing with a different pair, it gives the team more depth. And especially without Jamie Benn, but even with him, the way this left wing depth kind of looks, if you can get those guys to play with, I call it down the lineup. He's playing with Wyatt Johnston, who plays the second most minutes in the team. But if he's playing down that third line and Sam Steele or someone's playing up there, you're a lot more deep in your top nine, and then your fourth line is your fourth line. Whereas when Robertson jumps up there, or you put Wyatt up on the left wing of Duchesne and Sagan, or whatever it might be, all of a sudden your third line and fourth line are a big step down from what your top six looks like. So it's going to be something we see going back and forth here, but Glenn Gullickson's very open about the fact that he's still figuring this team out.
Sam, I wanted to ask you, you gave me a note today, said that Maverick Bork feels different. Why?
Yeah, I talked to him today. I talked to Maverick a lot last year as well. He was a very honest player, and he was very frustrated last year, as we know. I mean, he was not playing a lot. Pete DeBoer was either scratching him, or when he was getting in the game, he wasn't getting a lot of minutes. He just didn't have that trust. And this, along with Nils Lundqvist, is kind of a reset for Maverick Fort this year under a new coaching staff. Glenn Goldson basically told him right away, I'm going to give you a huge opportunity here for you to take. He's playing penalty kill. He's playing power play. I just sat down next to him and I said, how you feeling? And he kind of smiled at me and he pointed like this, said, feel 10 times lighter. Just don't feel that same stress, that same mental fatigue. I'm wondering if I'm going to be in and out of the lineup tomorrow. I'm sitting up here hoping that I can do something. And then when you're in the game, because you're playing on that edge like that, you're only playing not to make a mistake. And that's no way to play hockey in the National Hockey League. It's not going to produce good results. And if you're playing not to make a mistake, not only are you going to make mistakes, but you're also probably not going to have a lot of success on the other end, which is what keeps you in the lineup. So for Maverick now, he's on the penalty kill. He's on the second power play unit. He's getting time. He's in the top 9, if not the top 6. It's a huge news thing.
We're live.
Sam,
I just want
your buddy Lud just
to his
answered the
dad.
phone.
I'm at work right now talking. Oh yeah, I'm good. I'm just listening to these two talk.
Does he know does he know he's not muted?
Oh, I know I'm on.
He knows he's on. He's just having fun. Sam, it's loud in there. One quick question: do you anticipate a hostile reception for Mikko Rantanen tonight?
I do. I know it's kind of silly because it's not like the guy demanded a trade out of here, but he was already getting booed in the playoffs, and when he first returned in the regular season, then he did what he did in the series in Game 7. I think he will get booed. I don't know if it's every time he touches the puck, like Connor said about Matt Duchene the other day. I met Connor as well up here, the radio guy that was on our show. I think it's going to be a little bit of booze. They got a lot of people to hate if you're a Colorado Avalanche fan on the Dallas Stars.
Yes, they do.
They have former Avalanche players. They have people that have hurt the Avalanche. And it's the Dallas Stars are the Edmonton Oilers to the Colorado Avalanche, right? And that's kind of the funny way about it. So let's see if the Stars can keep that rolling here tonight.
All right, Sam, enjoy the game from Ball Arena, and we can't wait for you to check in with us during the postgame tonight.
All right, see you guys later.
All right, there you go. Sam Nestler live from Ball Arena. We bring in Luds. Luds, big one tonight. We are going to skip the Glenn Gulletson explanation on the Harley delay of game. They got some clarity. We'll get to that later. I want to talk about Brent Burns. Tonight will be his 1,500th career NHL game. He's known for his affinity for the tank top, Luds, and the boys in Colorado had a surprise for him today. I don't know if you saw this going around Twitter, but for those that didn't, check out the screen because we have a couple of photos of what the Avalanche did. Look at that. They all were wearing custom Brent Burns 1,500 tank tops, except for Burns himself. And then check out the close-up of our buddy Scott Wedgwood if you want to see the beard that's on that tank top. So they're very much ingratiating themselves well with their new teammate. And then here's what Jared Bednar had to say about the tank tops and Brent Burns' big milestone.
What did you think of the tank tops this morning?
I loved them. Yeah, that was good to see his big beard on one of those tank tops. Of course, he was wearing a different tank top, but it's good. I think we talked about it yesterday. It's definitely something that should be celebrated. Doesn't happen very often and couldn't happen to a better guy in Burnsy, and we're super happy to be here to experience it with him.
Luds?
Yeah.
I've got a quick question, pop quiz for you.
Okay.
How many players in NHL history have played 1,500 or more regular season games in their career?
I played with one of them, Chelly. I'd say Chelly. Did Messier play over 1,500?
I don't have the list in front of me right now, but I have the total number. Give me
I would say 5 or 6 guys.
22.
Wow.
And I was wondering if you would think when we mentioned that Brent Burns is at 1499 heading into tonight's game, tied with a certain teammate of yours.
Which one would that be?
Who didn't get to 1,500? Do you remember? One game shy? Yeah.
Yeah, the Mike Babcock.
Mike Modano. I just couldn't help but think about that when I was looking at Burns about to pass Modano in career games played.
Yeah, you know what? Mike, we should have had Mike on the show if you were going to ask him right now.
He'd be really salty about that one, I'm sure.
Here's the deal with Brent Burns is he plays Chelly, when Chelly was playing all those games, you could tell Chelly was in there. Brent Burns doesn't seem like it. I mean, he still skates so well, and
Yes.
you wouldn't know if you flash back to when I remember when he was a winger, right? He was a winger, and then they moved him up and moved him back and forth and all this other stuff, and probably San Jose days. But you could go back to some of those clips, and he looks exactly the same. So it's not like he's lost a step. I'm sure he has, but it doesn't look like it. Doesn't appear that he does. He's never been, he's a big guy, but he's never been a very over aggressive kind of player. You know what I mean? He doesn't run down or run around. He doesn't run players over and stuff like that, which I think is probably helped him stay out of some of those kind of battles. But his shot and the way he can skate and get around the ice, any team would love to have him. And I'm sure he's excited to be playing with guys like Makar and McKinnon.
All right, Leds, I want you to hear from Jared Bednar again. He had a couple of great answers in the morning skate availability, which not always something that coaches do. Sometimes you get a lot of nothing. But here's Bednar on the Dallas Stars and their coaching change.
Well, we've certainly looked at their systems and the way they're playing now. They've changed some things. Like, there's no question. They've changed their forecheck. They've changed, their breakouts. They've changed their D zone. So hopefully we can find some areas that we can attack, too, and things that we can repeat that can help us create some offense. On the flip side of that, a lot of similar personnel, a lot of dangerous players, super dangerous off the rush and in transition if you don't manage the puck properly. Why, again, that's so important. They're putting their D into every rush just like they did last year. I have them as number 1, number 2 best rush teams in the league last year. And most of that is out of transition, when they steal pucks or if you mismanage it in the neutral zone and they're putting numbers into it. So I don't think, their coach knows the same thing I know about their team last year, and you're not changing that. They're going to encourage to be even better at it. So we got a good feel of what they're doing after playing them a couple times in exhibition and watching their first game, and we got to go out and execute our game plan.
Well, you keep saying Gully's not reinventing the wheel. It's not like it's some secret what stuff he's doing, but it is different from Pete DeBoer.
Well, Jared's throwing a lot of flowers around, isn't he? I mean, he wants everybody to hear on the Dallas Stars everything great I'm saying about you guys. My gosh, you're so good. Yeah, I mean, it's all true. I mean, again, they had to face them in the playoffs, right? So they know a lot about this team. They know a lot about each other. And, we'll see if all that comes true. But I think, again, Bednar's been around a long time, and he understands exactly what he just was doing there.
All right, one more for you, because now here's Bednar on his own team through the first 2 games. And remember, he was very, very complimentary of the Dallas Stars' rush chances. Well, that's one of the big problems he had, especially against the Utah Mammoth at home on Thursday night.
The puck management aspect of the game, and being able to play with a little bit more poise and a little bit more confidence, and our decision making with the puck wasn't great. Like when I look back at the game, take the 8-9 seconds after a turnover out of it and our turnovers out of it, the structure of our game was fine. Like I liked the way we competed in D zone. We didn't give up a lot. I liked the way we, got above pucks and coming out of the offensive zone and just kind of playing the same way that we did against LA. But it's the puck management in all 3 zones and how we reacted out of that, and some of our reads coming out of those turnovers led to some really dangerous scoring chances against, and Wedgie was overworked, and he had a great night and got us a win. So that's what we studied and what we talked about and had some in-depth conversations about. So because we got to improve it, and that's what this started the season for. I'm happy the way camp and exhibition went. I'm happy that we got those 2 wins, but this is a work in progress for a long time here yet. And so we're not hitting any panic buttons or anything, but we got to fix some things right out of game 2.
As Lud said earlier, easy to say when you're 2-0, but I thought the comment he made, Luds, about the way the team's reacting coming out of turnovers was particularly interesting.
Well, I think what you're trying to do is talk about when things go bad and when things go good, and you can solve some of those kind of things in certain situations. The turnover is a bad word. I mean, that's supposed to be a bad word for players, right? We talk about turnovers all the time, whether it's that team or that team. You're supposed to cause turnovers. You're not supposed to create them. So create them for your own team. So, and again, like I said, some of those things are said for an opponent to hear, and some of those things are said for your own team to hear.
All right, one last thing for us before we wrap this up. Sam Girard announced this morning is out week to week with an upper body injury. So Ilya Solovyov, I'm going to butcher that one a couple of times. Solovyov is in he's not a rookie, Luds, but he was claimed off waivers a couple weeks ago from Calgary. He's played 15 career NHL games. He's 25 years old. What kind of a loss is Sam Girard on the Avalanche back end right now?
I think for me, there's parts of him that are Thomas Harley but he's a smaller guy, but the water bug kind of guy that comes up from his own zone and in the neutral zone. He's tight turn. He's really good on his edges, and he's difficult to defend. I think he can break down coverage at times, and I think that it's a drill that we do with our younger players is angle drills, and so that they learn the angles when you're going at somebody. I think that when you play against a guy like Girard, you have to have the proper angles because he's very good at stopping on a dime and cutting back on you.
All right, let's do before we sign off, a quick look at the Avs lineup. If you have those cards up, Ryan, because we have them. I know the Stars ones are a little different than what we prepared, but again, this is still a loaded group. Now, they're missing Logan O'Connor because of the hip surgery in the offseason, so he's not playing right now. And Mackenzie Blackwood is not ready to go yet. That's why Scott Wedgwood will start his third consecutive game to begin the year. And we mentioned Girard. But Luds, other than letting go Charlie Coyle and making a couple of changes, bringing in Victor Olofsson, they've got a pretty good, at least top six, and then some very interesting guys in the bottom six.
Yeah, Drury and Colton, Olofsson can score goals if he gets on a little bit of a roll. So, I think they look at their group, and it's kind of similar to Dallas in a way. You know what I mean? Like maybe not a solid three lines when it comes to scoring, but I think they've got some depth. They've got players in areas there that they know that they can use in parts of the game. You could probably take a lot of what Gully said when he was talking about the bottom six and things like that, and you could say same thing about that team. Everybody seems to have a role on that team, and we know what their top guys can do. And, it's funny that I haven't done a 30-minute show, but I'm close to doing a 30-minute show, and I haven't heard Cale Makar's name at all. So it'll be exciting for everybody to watch him play again.
Well, take a look at the defense real quick for the Avs. And there he is. He's the big guy along with Nathan McKinnon up front. But now they have Brent Burns playing with Manson. And the big thing, Luds, about Girard being injured, that the talk in Colorado today was 5 of the 6 defensemen are right-handed. That's the opposite problem the Stars typically have. But they're going to ask Manson to play on his offside a little bit. I'm sure he's good enough to handle it.
You know what? And when you see Burns and Makar, they play all over the ice anyways. It doesn't really matter if those two are left or rights, but I mean, they have a good top 4, and I'm sure most people, if they didn't get to see it, what you get out of Manson. I mean, we saw a big hit from Manson the other night, and you got to have your head up. That apple didn't fall far from the tree when we're talking about, his father.
All right. Well, we have a big game tonight. It's Wedgwood against Ottinger, 2 buddies going against each other again. And of course, Rantanen back there and all the other storylines along with, by the way, Colin Blackwell's 300th career NHL game tonight. Should be a fun one. We'll see if Luds can get ready for the post-game show before we do that, because he has a brand new Mando read. First time will happen post-game tonight, assuming he can get it off of his devices and he's not all messed up with StreamYard.
They toned it way down for me. I'm trying to play with it, but it's not coming out well.
Did you see the one part where it says ad lib?
By the way, anyway, what?
It says ad lib at the top, Luds. That's always scary to let you go that way.
I'll work on it. I don't have much on this one.
All right, that does it for our pregame show here on DLS. For Craig Ludwig and, of course, Sam Nestler in Denver tonight, and our producer, Ryan Vaughters. I'm Owen Newkirk. Thanks for joining. We will see you post-game right after tonight's Avs Stars game. So go tune in to Victory Plus.
I believe that they are going to crush these guys tonight.
We all silly like the mayor.